Good afternoon, teacher. Good afternoon, everyone. Today, we are going to explain about the analysis of national English curriculum. Okay, now, due to the health emergency that is affecting the whole world and our country, as a result of COVID-19, educational centers of different types have had to reformulate their pedagogical plans in order to allow for the continuity of learning in different modalities and with the use of different tools, methodologies, and evaluation instruments in order to achieve relevant and flexible learning. Okay, the English curriculum is based on the essential performance criteria skills and English modules. In addition, the distribution of content will serve as a basis for the development of microcurricular planning. Nevertheless, the curriculum was designed for students of Educación General Básica and Bachillerato General Unificado according to the needs of a linguistically and culturally diverse population. In addition, this curriculum presents a framework for learning English to facilitate the education and inclusion of the students, regardless of their mother tongue.
Okay, in this part, we can also mention that the main objective of this curriculum is to support the development of learners to communicate effectively in today's globalized world. The development of this curriculum also supports the proposed general educational objectives by developing thinking, social, and creative skills in the context of language learning. National English curriculum has core principles that are important to better develop the teaching learning process. So the first one is the communicative language approach, mentions that language is best learned as a means to interact and communicate. Then we have CLIL, that is a model used to integrate the learning of language with cultural and cognitive aspects of learning. Then we have international standards that are based on the international curriculum recognized by levels and processes of teaching and learning language. Next, we have thinking skills about learning English. It should support the development of the thinking, social, and creative skills needed for the lifelong learning. And finally, we have that a learner-centered approach is based on teaching methodologies that should reflect and respond to learners' strengths and challenges. It, it, it also have to facilitate the process of learning by supporting learners' motivation for an engagement with learning. Finally, we have that the curriculum has some foundations of the EFL curriculum that refer to how learners learn the language and therefore how they should be taught. So the curriculum takes a constructivist approach, beginning with the assumption that all learners are users of their mother tongue, and they have cognitive, emotional, and motor skills that facilitate communication and have an understanding of how their L1 works in real-life context.
For microcurricular planning and by scaling the performance of the Ministry of Education, we can find 6 important components. The first is aims. It's based on the exit profile of each of the levels and sub-levels of education and our performance that the students must fulfill with a degree of generalization or specific skills knowledge. Then we have the objectives. They exhibit the integral performance of the students in a specific way in each of the different areas of study raised in the educational system. Then we have the contents. Here represents the know-how through the mastery of the skills with performance criteria or competencies raised in the curriculum. Methodology. They are constituted by the methodological and didactic orientations that expand the information expressed by the skills with performance criteria or competencies, while offering suggestions to effectively develop different methods and techniques that lead to their development inside and outside the classroom. Then we have the resources. Here can be considered as any kind of material that has the objective of facilitating the teaching learning process, and depending of their use, they can be didactic or not. And finally, the evaluation focuses on grades and might reflect the classroom components other than course content and mastery level. An evaluation can be used as a final review to give the quality of the instruction. This means that the main question is what's been learned. In short, evaluation is a judgmental.
Well, in the National English Curriculum of Ecuador, we find several templates at the time of development. In template A, called the annual teaching plan, general information is added and the name of the school year, the objectives, etc. Information such as the authors, class schedules, and lines of education, etc. In template B, the objectives of communicative competence are included. That defines what the student will be able to do after completing a course, as well as the objectives of linguistic skills such as listening, reading, speaking, and writing. Template C, called the content template, lists the months of the elective year in the first column and takes into account the grammatical functions and vocabulary to be taught each month. In template D, methodological strategies and the tools proposed to be able to develop linguistics skills are added. Also, in this template, we can add some strategies or some tools that we think that could be important or useful in order to develop the curriculum. Take into account the following principles. Provide opportunities for learners to experiment and try out what they know. Be tolerant of learners' errors. Provide opportunities for learners to develop both accuracy and fluency. Link the different skills such as speaking, listening, reading, and finally let the students induce or discover some grammar rules. In template E, resources are listed. It means text and materials appropriate for learning.